The camera opens on 5 rigs hanging in a semicircle formation above what looks like a Class 5 planet, an orb of blue skies, streaming clouds, and the glow of life. But the scale, it's all wrong. The rigs are too large in the frame of the camera, and you can tell that their boost packs are straining to keep them aloft in the gravity of Counterweight. The would-be globe, blue and alive, isn't a globe at all. It's only half a sphere, sticking up above ruined Earth and illuminating the cratered grounds for miles around its soft glow. The rigs are, mostly, heavily modified Minerva Rooks, the backbone of the Oricon forces during the Golden War. One of the rigs, on the far side of the semicircle, has a sort of flat obelisk for a head, with a camera attached to the side. It pivots inwards, towards the center of the group, and it brings the unit's comms alive, with a crackle. Queen Captain? His voice is hesitant, but before he can actually issue any sort of complaint, he's cut off. Bishop, you wanted to step up and start running ops. Well, here we are. Save your commentary for debrief. Bishop turns his rig back towards the orb. Yes, ma'am. Understood. The group takes a moment to check their gear, and then shrieks across the sky in wide arcs, slamming into the blue sky dome with tactical precision. And then, explosions. And then, sirens. And the camera zooms in just a little bit closer to the dome. And the blue skies and the clouds, the glow of life, it flickers and fades, replaced by the pulsing red of emergency klaxons. You're the only 4 people on the final train going out towards the dome. And you can see that there's like a huge chunk off the side of it that has been blown open.
Do you know if Cene's 6 Hearts has made it out?
You can tell that this was more than just they wanted to blow a hole in the sky in the side of this dome. She does another look over her shoulders. Cene's been taken.
If we were leaving, where would we be going to?
The city, Cene's lab.
It sets up like a little shitty basement, like apartment, and then there's a little ladder, and you go down that, and it's this like big drone laboratory. They're like hollow screen, just has like a bunch of open windows. Someone was running a search. They were searching for the word Ionius, which you know is a planet in this star sector. They're in the same hangar that Gym 27 works out of.
You know Cene's 6 Heart?
I know Cene. Cene is my friend.
Yeah, well, someone kidnapped Cene. You help me, you're helping Cene, and you're getting yourself away from, frankly, people that are probably pretty shitty. Shittier than usual for you.
Jim says, ha ha, ha, yes, okay. Thank you, Mako.
No problem, buddy.
You pick up 3 contacts on the horizon. Their goal is to shoot you out of the sky. Okay, I'll leave you with this final scene for the episode, which is Cene in a pristine lab, kind of much more focused than his was, right? Like their lab was all like a mess of a billion different interesting projects. The lab that Cene's in now is like super focused on one thing, which is a set of lines of code that are streaming down a billion different displays. And Cene is there sitting in a chair, leaning forward, looking at it, and like trying to make sense of it. A guard comes in and leaves a tray of food. Cene shrinks as the guard comes in the room. And then when the guard leaves, Cene nibbles at the food and gets back to work. We'll call it there. As the sun sets at the edge of the horizon, smoke pours out of a launch bay at Counterweight's Addax spaceport. Inside the bay, hygienobots go to work, scrubbing and scraping away the blast residue from the brief encounter between the Chime, your group of freelance problem solvers, and the mercenary band known as the Weightless. In the corner of the room lies a seemingly ruined black mech, a modified Rook with the King designation, its heads and arms torn apart by a plasma blast. Just as some of the cleaning bots begin to approach it, a light in its cockpit blinks on. A monitor shudders to life and reads Automatic Rendezvous, Destination SnowTrak Lab Tau. And then the machine shakes itself awake, and in a moment, it pierces the smoke and takes to the sky.
Jack and Allie made some people mad, and Art and I made their friends mad, and then we shot them all. And ran away.
Oh, and we learnt that our friend has been kidnapped and taken to a place called SnowTrak.
SnowTrak Synergies is the name of the company, yeah.
But that's okay, we kidnapped one of them right back.
That did happen. That did happen. It's true.
We can do a beginning of salt prisoner transfer.
Yeah, that's all. That's how it works,
I
right?
somehow think this guy is not as important as...
Weird. As your friend Cene Sixheart, who was a kind of a technician and roboticist for the diaspora, who has since kind of settled on Counterweight, where they are. They've been working on the Blue Sky prototype. They've been working with Jack's character Audie, and just generally being a smart person.
Good pal to the Chime.
And where are we now?
I think you're all on the Kingdom Come. Everyone has you kind of had this encounter as a group against the group that I've just told you as players is called the Weightless, who you kind of fought to a standstill, right? Like Allie's character Aria Joy was outnumbered in some ways, but at the same time, the leader of the Weightless, who was flying the Queen class Rook, was kind of taken by surprise and knocked down a peg or two and was kind of in a weak position, and in the end retreated. So where we left off, I think, is probably with you all back in the Kingdom Come. The mechs are back docked, and you're probably in a public space. I'm imagining you. I guess you can tell me, but I'm imagining you in a public space on the ship with the person that you kidnapped. Alright, the last image of the game that we're going to give is back on the ship, on in the middle of the nightly news, where it's talking about that the attack on SnowTrak Synergies. It switches to footage of the server room from days before you were there, where it shows them shoving Cene down and locking them up, and then kind of beating Cene until they decide to cooperate, and then fast forward footage, throughout the next day or two of the soldiers coming up and checking on Cene and make sure the work is going on, and switching from angle to angle with a rapid shot, and then it's you are there, you break in, the explosion happens, you carry Cene away, it's all the violence quickly, all rapid shots of what's happening. And then the angels of Counterweight show up again, that symbol again, in the corner, and on the screen it says, "When the bells chime, you're out of time." And then it goes back to the regular programming.
I'm getting my Muppets fucked up.
The flash and fury of gunshots, leaving high-pitched, ringing noises, muting the rest of the world. We see the length of a Golden War-era revolver, and the camera pivots to the side to reveal Orth Godlove, broad, dark-faced, gray stubble, and an even grayer suit, buttonless, fit snugly around his old muscle. As he holds the weapon outwards, smoke drifting from the barrel, the world comes into focus around him. Lights blaring and digital bells and beeps ringing. Electronic keno machines, begging absentee gamblers to come and try their chances. But where tourists might sit instead are crates, wooden and metal and plastine, and each of them marked clearly, emergency food supply. Chime! Orth yells into his comm unit. Chime, come in! But there is no signal. Outside, an engine roars. Hello, Audie. If you're receiving this, it means that one of a number of protocols is activated, and my biosignature has been lost. I'd like you to find where I am. Is that too much to ask? You're passing through the streets, and there are people that are protesting. Here, they literally just have, it is just Sharpie on placards that says, we've suffered enough, we should eat, where is the food? Orth should be at Dome 7 currently. We sent him there to oversee just some supply organization.
We would like to get into Orth's office. You can help us do that. We can help you help us do that. She asks us for the money, and all of us, all hell, quite hell, immediately breaks loose.
He got on the Starlight Strait, going from Dome 7 out towards another district further away, and at some point in between those two districts, his heart monitor thing just turns off. Aria, you click on the message sent to you, and then just click on who he BCC'd on this email chain.
Yo, he sent it to the Weightless and also to the people who killed us.
Something about this just doesn't sit right. It all feels a little too orchestrated. It all feels a little too on the nose.
This is one of the more cliche protests.
And this is one of the more cliche protests. Get people riled up.
If you're asking if I know if this is a Pelosian plot to undermine the government here, I don't.
If you hear anything, you let me know, because if you don't, it looks real bad for you. There's this group. They're called the Netted Wave. They're a bunch of Apostolicians who stuck around. I can't prove anything, but they're here, and they're equipped. If someone wanted to start some shit, it would be them. Koda White Gloves glares out of the autocar at the warm, humid pastels of Counterweight's Centralia Dome. Outside, throngs of civilians shout, hungry, in response. Koda sighs and looks forward, buttoning up their form-fitting white uniform, shiny silver buttons reflecting the light and the heat. The car parks and Koda steps out and enters their clinic. Inside, parents beg Koda's algorithmic receptionist for service, but Koda walks past with an official's gait. And then the office, and then Koda's face, determined, and then on the holoscreen the face of another Apostolician, and then the words, "Fine, do it." An excerpt from the Journal of Addax Dawn, former candidate of peace and current agent of the Rapid Evening. Sometime, deep in the future, after all of this is over, far away from the here and now, whoever is left will look back and write about this month we've had. They'll tell stories about how thousands gathered in the overgrown statuaries of an abandoned world and waited to be judged by a once-absent god. They'll write about the day a little fleet of mischief and wrath became a state unto itself, unanchored and hungry. They'll sing about the moment that the freelancer became a fisher of planets. But I wonder if anyone will be left who remembers, or if anyone outside even noticed that day, when halfway across the sector, flakes of snow drifted down into the massive crater bored into the side of the planet Ionius, as something very old and very cruel felt the light of the stars for the first time in ages. And yeah, this is definitely part of Aria's vision, is like, you saw Weight, and it is abandoned and huge and perfect. And then you go home to Counterweight, and there's nothing. And the sky is covered in soot and smoke, and you live in these shitty domes. And worse, they're taking Weight away from you, because when the game picks up the next time we play, the blue sky technology that was around in the very first game that Cene had been working on with some other scientists has finally started proliferating throughout Counterweight. And so this one symbol of hope that people had that was kind of crushing at the same time, that it was a little bit of a lift, Weight in the sky, the beautiful blue seas, the green continents, that's gone and replaced with a synthetic blue sky. And everyone loves it because they don't know any better. And I think we pick up next week on the beach, where everyone else is just having the greatest time, and Aria can't stop thinking about what a real beach is like. But I want to go back really quickly to SnowTrak to end there. Where we left off was that a handful of SnowTrak people, including some laborers and some higher ups, had gathered as ground was finally, or as the digging finally pushed through. Natalia Greaves is there, Omen Kane, and Maddie Graydon. Above you, I think. So I've been picturing this as like a midday thing. Actually, it's like pretty bright, and the light is like really reflective inside of this glacier. And there's like little bits of, you're so deep down that most of the snow doesn't even get here. But little like flakes, almost like a flurry, gets down here. It's actually a little warmer here than it was above. You're so deep down and like the wind doesn't hit you, at least. Mm-hmm. And it warms more and more as the light grows more and more. And underneath the ice, something begins to move. And Omen, is digging furiously. And underneath there is something sharp and long and angular. What are Natalia and Maddie up to?
I think Natalia immediately yells at him to get back. Cause they don't know what's down there and she is terrified of what's going on. And I can't yell cause my housemates are back, but she's just like, get away from that. Get back. We don't know what's down there. That's sensitive material. You are not ready to handle that. You need to back up. He's just yelling at this kid to get away from that.
Yeah.
And Maddie probably runs to try and grab him by the back collar of his jacket or whatever he's wearing. Just try and drag him away.
When Maddie grabs him, he shoots her back a glance and then a pulse of energy pushes her, kinetic force just throws her back.
Oh shit!
And the ground underneath them shakes and a form rises up around them. And it has, so it's a humanoid shape. It's, Omen is riding on the top of it as it rises up out of the big hole to where it is as big as the hole is. It's almost as if you know how a space shuttle has, or a spaceship rather has shuttles do too. They have the thing that, not the crane, but the thing that it's connected to. Mm-hmm.
The arm?
Yeah, the arm, the dock, on the ground.
Yeah.
The shuttle, it's almost as if you'd built that crane and arm and stuff and didn't realize you were already building that, right?
Yeah.
And this thing rises up out of the snow and ice and reaches onto some metal plates that had been built there, and people didn't even realize they had been building that thing. And its shapes are long and angular, and its arms don't end in fists the way ours do. And I think Natalia, who at least has some of her mind still, recognizes that this is a divine. And it is old. It is very old. It is not quite like the divines that you have seen or read about or heard or seen, sense videos of or whatever. Unlike those, it doesn't seem to have the same, it doesn't feel divine in the same way. It feels man-made, but that doesn't make it any less horrifying. Omen slides down it into a cockpit, and inside you can see, in fact, the cockpit is like a cockpit of a Rigour. It has controls. It doesn't have the weird brain jack, and it hums with energy and with heat. And the whole place begins to melt, minus the infrastructure that had been built already. But people just go sliding into the ice. There is a booming voice that people hear in their heads. That it's not a voice, actually. I think it's a booming I think the best thing it could be is it feels like it's your 90-day job evaluation, your 90-day review. You're being judged, and those who fall and die are those who did not work hard enough. Those who did not have the rigor necessary to impress their new boss. Their new boss, of course, is Rigour, the first divine.